Welcome to Seniors Today, a monthly program that is a voice for those 50 plus in Montgomery County, produced by the Commission on Aging, of which I am a community member. While the show is insightful for people of all ages, each episode takes a fresh look at important issues by spotlighting seniors in the community, representatives of senior services and programs, and activities of interest to seniors. My name is Katie, and today our discussion will focus on the county's age-friendly initiative and how we can ensure the public and personal safety of seniors. We will learn about being proactive in protecting ourselves to improve our quality of life. Joining me to discuss what age-friendly Montgomery is Marcia Pruzan. Marcia has had a long professional career in health communications and social marketing for the National Institute of Health and the CDC, the strong focus on aging issues. She's also served on the county's Commission on Aging and has continued to do work with us for over the past 15 years. Marcia is currently a senior fellow with the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services. Hi, Marcia.
Good morning, Katie. Thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely. I'm so really grateful to talk to you. You've managed the county's age-friendly Montgomery program since its inception in 2015. Can you tell us what age-friendly Montgomery is and a little bit about your commitment to meeting the needs of seniors?
Sure. Well, Age Friendly is a program, actually a global initiative run by the World Health Organization and in this country by AARP. It helps localities all over the world, and certainly here in Montgomery County, prepare for and meet the needs of our rapidly aging and in Montgomery County, very diverse population. In Montgomery County, people may not know that in Montgomery County in the next 20 years, we expect fully a third of our population to be over the age of 60. And we want to know that all of our residents can live here and thrive throughout their lifetime from going to school and working and just living here throughout their lifetime. On a personal level, you've mentioned the work that I've done. I am very committed to services and programs for older residents and all residents. And I think it's important to remember that everything we do here for our older residents benefits every one of us at every age.
I really like that. Everything that you do benefits everyone. It doesn't matter your age. So how did Montgomery County become involved in this program?
Well, I always like to say that Montgomery County was age-friendly before we were officially designated age-friendly. We have for many, many years supported programs and services for our older residents. And those are both our healthy, active, busy older residents, as well as those who are more vulnerable. In 2014, our wonderful Commission on Aging did a study and looked at the whole process of age-friendly and advocated for it with our county executive and our county council, who absolutely supported that. So we were able to enroll in Age Friendly in 2015. We were certified shortly after that and recertified again in 2020 to continue.
Wow. Tell us about the structure. How does it work?
Well, it works mostly between absolutely beautiful partnerships between community organizations and the county government. We have partners all over the county who help us make sure that these programs are up and running and do what they need to do. The group is chaired by the director of our Health and Human Services, Dr. Raymond Crowell, and our Recreation Director, Robin Riley. We work with an advisory group and 10 work groups. We call them domains that focus on certain areas. They educate one another about what they're doing. They work together to make sure that we're meeting the needs both within their area of focus and in collaborations amongst each other and also with the Commission on Aging and with our partners. And it's never been more evident how wonderful this structure has been than in the recent pandemic, the current, sadly, pandemic of COVID. Our partners and community agencies all over the county have worked with the government to ensure that we've been able to meet the essential needs of our residents. Things like food, transportation, getting to medical appointments, technology support, a lot of different areas. I can't name them all here, but it's been a wonderful and fruitful collaboration.
Well, Could you tell us about those specific areas of focus that you mentioned for age-friendly Montgomery?
Okay, well, there are 10, and I'll tell you just a tiny bit about what each one is doing, emphasizing that they all do a lot more than what I'm going to tell you. But we have one group that concentrates on civic involvement in the community, and they provide all kinds of support for vital living, for not career opportunities, volunteer opportunities, lifelong learning, technology training, things like that. We have one other group that's devoted to preventing elder abuse, educating and informing the public and helping to prevent all types of abuse, any type of abuse, physical, financial, sexual, any type. We have another group that works on employment for older residents. It does two things. It helps employers understand the benefits of maintaining and hiring older workers and what they have to bring to the job that maybe younger workers might not have. And also it helps older job seekers navigate career hunting and job available jobs. We have a health and wellness group that is dedicated with our community partners to offering resources and activities that provide wellness throughout our recreation department, our senior centers, all kinds of education and physical activity and just social interaction, meals, all kinds of things going on there. We have a home and community-based services group that works to help people age as they care to in their homes with the services they need to bring into their homes. And we have a housing group that supports initiatives to help residents age in place. And they also work very hard to create and maintain affordable housing in the county, to preserve housing that's already there and create more. They also have been bringing information into the senior residences throughout the county during COVID about various issues related to COVID. So they've been very useful in outreach and education as well. We have another group that works on making our open spaces in our community buildings and everything for the public accessible and appealing and inviting for our residences, parks and public buildings and so forth. And we have a public safety group that you're going to hear more from today. So I'm not going to spend any time telling you about that right now because they will do a better job than I could. Then we have a transportation and mobility group that just basically is geared toward helping people get where they want to go, when they want to go there safely and efficiently through a huge range of resources in the county for transportation. And finally, overall, we have a communications group that is working to make sure that we get information out to everyone who needs it about all of these programs and resources and services that are available. And they do it in multiple languages. As I mentioned, we have more, close to 200, I think, different languages spoken in this county. And they work really hard to do as much translating of this information as they can.
Well, Marcia, you've definitely given us a lot to think about, and we only have a little bit of time left. And you talked about so many contours in this discussion that influence the health and well-being of older adults. And it's an honor to be able to talk with you, but in a little bit of time we have left, in 20 seconds or less, can you tell us what's next for Age Friendly Montgomery, and then how can we stay in contact with the work that you're doing?
Well, we can definitely continue expanding our partnerships in the community, working with the partners we have and trying to bring in more and more because they're wonderful. We're going to look for new collaborative opportunities across these different domains I just mentioned and with our community partners and throughout government. And we're working very hard with AARP Maryland and other age-friendly jurisdictions around as all of them are creating new age-friendly programs as well.
Thank you again for sharing with us, Marcia.
Thank you for having me here today, Katie.
Up next, we will talk with Jim Resnick, Program Manager for the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Community Risk Reduction Section. Welcome back. Joining me is Jim Resnick, who joined us for Seniors Today about 3 years ago. Some of our viewers may recall that Jim leads several home safety and curriculum-based programs for Montgomery County Fire and Rescue, including the Senior Outreach and Education Program. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate being able to join you guys today.
Likewise, I appreciate being able to talk to you. Of utmost importance as people age, they undergo physical, sensory, and cognitive changes that can impair their abilities to prevent or respond to fires and emergency situations. Tell us about the Senior Outreach Program.
Well, thanks, Katie, for giving me the opportunity to tell folks about what we do through senior outreach and education. I'm actually here at the Germantown Fire Station 34, on the east side of Germantown. And these folks are living and working through what we call senior outreach every day. Our senior outreach and education program is an outgrowth of a very, very comprehensive study that was done in the early 2000s. We had a large number of significant fires in the homes of folks who identified as seniors, and sadly, many of those fires involved fatalities. And the county executive at the time got together with the leadership of the fire service, and they put together a senior citizen fire safety task force. That task force was charged with doing everything possible in terms of recommendations for coming up with ways, strategies, laws, education, outreach, and so on, in order to try to reduce the number of fires and to hopefully cut the number of fire deaths down to zero. The study was released in 2008. The position that I currently work in, where I'm this program manager for senior outreach and education for the fire department, that is directly as a result of that. So through this outreach program, as you mentioned, we do two primary things. We do a lot of group presentations. I get in front of any group that will have me, and groups in particular where there's folks that identify themselves as seniors. We don't put an age with that, but if they say I'm a senior, then sure, we're going to go ahead and be part of that effort to try to reduce their chances of having a fire, a significant injury, or something like that. And then the second part of this, as you mentioned, is we do home safety checks. Through COVID, we had to flip everything. We started doing home safety checks on Zoom. We started doing home safety checks using FaceTime or just phone calls. We're hoping to be able to start getting back in the community and getting into people's homes soon.
Jim, that sounds like a lot of great work that you're doing, and you have strategies that you obviously are working on to improve fire safety for seniors in Montgomery County. Now, what are some of the risk factors for seniors in their homes and the best practices they should adhere to?
Great questions. So the risk factors are that as we age, and this is not even necessarily for people that are aging, this is for anybody. If I'm having physical or cognitive issues which affect my ability to notice if there's smoke, notice if there's fire, to react properly if those things happen, and also to be able to take care of the things in my home that are necessary to help keep me safe. Do I have working smoke alarms? Do I have working carbon monoxide alarms? Are they in the right place? That's kind of a combination of the risk factors and the strategies together. So yeah, if my hearing isn't quite what it used to be, if I don't move as quickly as I used to move, and also another risk factor that we find is in terms of burns and burn injuries. As people get older, they tend to be, they feel colder more often. They tend to wear a lot of clothing, including loose fitting clothing, which unfortunately can cause a fire, or it can cause cooking to catch their clothing on fire. And then we can have a tragic outcome for that. So strategies such as having working smoke alarms on every level of your home, inside as well as outside of your bedroom, having a carbon monoxide alarm on each floor, and then other things like cooking safely, keeping an eye on your electrical appliances. Those are probably the big things, Katie.
Now, Jim, you mentioned your department did adopt a lot of strategic response protocols for residents, and obviously this will help them in realistic situations. But on the emergency medical service side, EMS, how can seniors actively participate in creating a culture of fire safety, especially with the wide variety of housing types that Montgomery County has?
So that's a great question, and you actually keep on including a lot of the things that we want to talk about. So when it comes to emergency medical services, which is the most of the calls that we run, approximately 70 to 75% of the calls that Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service runs are medical calls in nature. So our ability to have a public that is ready in case a medical emergency happens, and one of the ways they can do that is by having a filled out file of life. These are available through either Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service or through the health department. If you want one, you can call 311 and request, and we'll send you a file of life, or you can call either of the numbers that you see on the front of this, 240-777-3000 for the health department, or 240-777-2430, and that's for fire and rescue safety education. We'll send these to you. It's not good enough just to have one, but to have one filled out. And what the file of life has is a form in which you write down your medical information, your history, your medications, allergies, who you'd like us to contact in case of an emergency. And then this beautiful little red folder has a magnet on the back, so it goes on the person's refrigerator. The other things are, we see a lot of people that get injured at home because of falls. The ability to have handrails with every staircase on both sides of the stairs, so that if I can't use my right hand, perhaps I can have my left hand then grab onto a handrail instead of a blank wall. Looking for tripping hazards in the home, trying to avoid wet floors, making sure I'm wearing proper shoes and the like. Those are some of the best strategies that we can have. And my goodness, if we didn't learn over this past 18 months the importance of keeping ourselves healthy, not going out if we're not feeling well, hydrating well, covering up our coughs and sneezes, washing hands frequently. These are things that people can do. They sound like little simple things, but they can keep us from having to have these guys and gals come to your home.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for coming back on the show. You gave us many tips on how our family, friends, and neighbors can orient themselves about fire safety. Are there any parting words of advice that you have for us, or a website where we can learn more?
Sure. So you can always visit our website. Make sure that you have working smoke alarms on every level of your home. Make sure you have carbon monoxide alarms. And if you have questions, need any help, call us, check our website. You can always get us through 311.
Thanks again so much, Jim, for taking the time.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Up next, we will talk with Tracy Rezvani, who is the administrator of the Office of Consumer Protection. Welcome back to Seniors Today. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm glad to talk to you. Let's jump right in. Tracy, what's the Montgomery County Office of Consumer Protection?
So we are a law enforcement agency that enforces the county's consumer protection laws. We also license and regulate certain industries like auto repair, in-home appliance or consumer electronic repair, tow companies, new home builders, secondhand personal property dealers. But the main thing that we do, obviously, is we try to help consumers and merchants resolve disputes that happen in the county.
Now, your office conducts senior-specific presentations and webinars. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, we do a lot of in-person or virtual presentations and to seniors on so many topics: senior scams, romance scams, internet safety, or how do you safely use these new payment apps. And you can find all the webinars that we have on our YouTube channel, Consumer Wise.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the payment apps?
Sure. So payment apps are really meant for you to be able to share money with your friends or family. To see the commercials. It's really there to help, to pay back people. A lot of folks are starting to use that for shopping. And the problem is that if you don't know who you're giving the money to, it's really hard to scale it back. And so payment apps are being used commonly now by scammers. And it really should be for folks that you know well.
Some of the other ways that you help shield seniors from financial predators.
Well, we do a lot of advice. And so if I can give, some top 5 advice. One is if you have to wash your hands for 20 seconds, take that same 20 seconds and think about the transaction before closing the deal when you're getting an unsolicited phone call, especially asking for money. Gift cards are for gifts. They're not for bills. It's like cash. Don't wire money. It is virtually impossible to get it back. Debit cards that have that Visa MasterCard logo don't give you the same protections as a real true credit card would, especially because the Fair Credit Billing Act doesn't apply. And if you're shopping online, research the company and make sure this is some entity that's been around for more than 6 months and has good reviews from customers about delivery.
Wow, those are definitely practical and something that we all should adhere to, especially that first one. They're all important, but that 20-second rule, we have to think first. Are there
Mhm.
any scams to which seniors are, particularly more susceptible to, and how can they protect themselves?
So one of the things we've seen through the pandemic has been a rise in romance scams. And so when folks are being stuck at home, they are looking for ways of socializing. And so whether they were on dating apps or meeting people through social media or maybe chatting with someone who randomly tagged them in a game app on their phone, they're meeting folks that are essentially predators trying to get their hearts involved, and then slowly we'll start to hit them up for money. So romance scams were a big thing. We're seeing a lot of COVID survey or other kinds of still COVID scams where they're asking you to participate in a survey for some kind of gift or money, or they're trying to get folks to pay towards charities that maybe are trying to help with hardship. Phone scams. Folks are home more and therefore more likely to pick up that phone. And so we've seen a lot of phone scams happening, especially grandparent scams. Those don't go away, they just change. And so now COVID is always used as some kind of an excuse as to why money needs to happen. At-home job scams. Folks are at home looking to make some money. They end up being a money mule in a money laundering scheme or get their own money stolen. So at-home schemes are huge right now. And then obviously phishing or by email or smishing by your text phone, when you get these unsolicited messages that want you to click on things, you're going to end up either handing control over your phone or computer or possibly giving money over. So it's really important not to click on things that you didn't ask to be sent to you.
Hmm. Anything else that we should know, Tracy? I know you gave us the 5 tips. You talked about, things that are happening as we emerge even from the COVID environment and that happened in the COVID environment. But is there anything else that we should know about seniors being threatened and abusive practices that they should be aware of?
Well, you should always be sure to take the time to think and not make any hasty decisions. Our office is always here to be able to answer any questions. If you think you have been a victim of a crime that is aimed at seniors or vulnerable adults, the state's attorney's office actually has a crimes against seniors and vulnerable adults unit that you can contact. But for any kinds of consumer related questions, you can absolutely give us a call.
What's the number that we can reach you for concerns or if we want to report an incident?
Well, the best way right now, because our front phones are still turned off, is to try to reach us through MC 311, or you can email us at consumer@montgomerycountymd.gov.
Tracy, I learned a lot from this conversation, and I know our viewers will too. I think in most things in life, I'm going to give myself that 20-second rule, and obviously incorporating those other tips, like the difference between a credit card versus your debit card, and knowing that gift cards are just that, gift cards. So thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, that concludes our program for today on Age-Friendly Montgomery and its domain of public and personal safety for seniors. As you can see, the voices of seniors matter every day and in every way. Thank you to everyone who was able to tune in. To learn more about services for seniors in Montgomery County, please visit the Montgomery County Seniors website by visiting montgomerycountymd.gov/senior, or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000.